Well, always good seeing you guys. Feel like I haven't seen you guys in a week or so, which is the truth. So excited to get around you. Appreciate you guys as always, your guys' time. And as always, man, thank you, Jesus, for the opportunity to coach these young men. And every day I wake up, I'm so blessed to be the head coach here and help these young men to be better husbands, fathers, professionals, NFL players, whatever it might be for their lives. I'm so blessed to be in their life, man. So I'm proud of our team. Obviously, the success we had this season, back-to-back champions, being able to go to the Fiesta Bowl, didn't do enough to win that game, didn't execute enough consistently to win that game. Very excited to learn and grow from that, but we had every opportunity to win that game, and we were looking at it holistically to make sure when we get back there that we find a way to win, because we need to. That's what this place is built on, but so proud of our team battling for the entire season, counted out a lot of times and kept swinging, found a way, and I'm proud of our team. And I'm extremely excited for the future. And that's the biggest push for me. I'm proud of our team. We're going to have a really good team next year. We're going to continue to add pieces and find different guys that fit this place. And that's my message to recruits and staff is this place is different. And to be a part of this, it's going to take everything. No different for a young man. Met with a lot of different recruits over the past month. And it is not a sales pitch. It is, this is us. And if it doesn't fit you, there's 132 other FBS schools that you can go play at. But this is how we do it here. And it's got to be all chips on the table to want to be a part of this team, want to be a part of a family, and want to be the best version of yourself. And I tell them, because if you don't want that, you're going to hate me because I'm going to be involved in everything in your life. And those are the coaches we hire too. So proud of our team this season. A lot of things that being able to reestablish some standards here at Boise State football and continue to push forward. I'm so proud of our players and our staff on being able to do that. Now I'm excited to now the groundwork is laid to continue to grow forward because I really, truly believe the best is still to come, and that is our job, and that is my passion. That is our calling here, and excited to continue to do that going forward. With staff changes wise, very, very excited for Nate Potter to be our offensive coordinator. He's a guy that absolutely has earned it. And offensively, we are going to continue to be one of the most explosive offenses in the nation with him at the helm. I've been around Nate for a long time, and one of the best coaches I've ever been around, from developing players to schematic mind, run game, pass game, and being able to attack defenses. There's not a lot of offensive coordinators that know how to attack a defense. It's not just out there running plays and let's throw it out there and see if it works. Like Nate Potter is going to attack defenses with the staff we have, and we've got a great staff around him. And you guys have seen that. Excited for Matt Miller to be promoted to co-offensive coordinator, and very excited for Zach Hill to be back at Boise State. He's a guy that I actually talked with last February when we had an offensive coordinator position. I talked with Zach for a little bit about it. I think the world of him. I worked with him for 3 years here, 17, 18, and 19, and seeing not only his work from an offensive coordinator standpoint, but I believe he's one of the absolute best quarterback coaches, one of the best quarterback developers in the entire nation. I believe that, not because that's what somebody told me, because that's what I saw in person, and that's what I've seen him do. And so very, very excited to get Zach Hill back. That's a huge addition to our staff. Another thing that you will see later today is Tim Keene, our offensive line coach, is going to be promoted to run game coordinator as well. So very excited about some of the pieces we put in play. And Dirk Cutter will still be a part of our staff in a senior analyst role, so he'll still be involved with this team and with our offense moving forward. And then defensively, right now, don't foresee any staff changes. I think the world of our defensive staff. Coach Nander did a phenomenal job this year. Obviously, we're going to look at some things and where we need to continue to grow. I know big questions always come up about some of the pass game stats, and those are things that we're looking at to make sure we grow there. But we play good defense this year, and we had every opportunity to not only win that Fiesta Bowl, but being able to win that Mountain West Championship. And you look at some of the offenses we played, I think, 6 of the top 20 offenses in the nation, right? And so our guys are battling. We still have a lot of room to grow in all 3 phases, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, but excited where we are growing to in all phases. But don't foresee any changes defensively. I love our staff. They believe in our players. They're going to build our players in all facets, and hungry to continue to be the best version of ourselves as a staff so we can do the same for them. And then special teams wise, we've talked about, I think we've seen the growth special teams wise throughout the season. Obviously, the 2 missed field goals in the Fiesta Bowl game were huge. That is not why we lost the game, but we saw a lot of growth special teams wise throughout the season. Coach Collins, one of the best special teams coordinators in the nation, and there's already things that we are working to, from recruiting to our roster to specialist wise, to make sure that we continue to take a big step via special teams. So proud of our team. So proud of our staff and our players and what we were able to do last year. And as a competitor, the 2025 season started the second the Fiesta Bowl was over. There has been very little rest for us. We're on the ground running to make sure, obviously, we kept our team, and we did. And I'm proud of our staff and our players believing in us, believing that there's no better place in the nation for them to be developed and grown and to be the best version of themselves than right here. And then it's finding new recruits, from freshmen to some transfers, that want to be a part of this place and that fit. Because there's wide is the gate that wants to come to Boise State football now. It's my job as the gatekeeper to make sure only the right people that fit here, that want to be a part of something different, come through these doors. And that is my job, and excited where we are pushing to. And have to give a monster shout out to Bronco Nation. Not only just how they travel to the Fiesta Bowl game, and people, this is a blue-collar community. I am very aware of a lot of people probably sacrificed Christmas and gifts to find a way to go down to Arizona and support this team. So Bronco Nation, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That does not go unnoticed. That was a huge deal for us when we took that field against Penn State to see us in full force down there. And then the 7 games, 7 sellouts, being undefeated on the blue this season, first time in a while. So proud of Bronco Nation making that the biggest home field advantage in the nation. So thank you. And then going forward, very open about the fact that this is going to take everybody's support to continue to push forward. We need to make sure that we don't play in a Fiesta Bowl 10 years from now. We need to make sure it doesn't take a decade to get back there. That is my job. That is my calling. I believe Jesus called me here to make sure we develop people and push this forward. And that's why everybody's been called to this place for such a time. So we got to make sure that it doesn't take 10 years to get back. I believe in our team we're going to have next year. I'm not going to make any promises, no different like I didn't last season, but I know we're going to have more than enough from a player standpoint to continue to push the needle. Now, it's going to take everybody's support to make sure we keep our best players here in Idaho, right here at Boise State. And that's going to take everybody. It's not just going to take a couple big supporters. It's going to take everybody. And that's my big push this offseason, is to make sure, from small businesses to individuals, I'm going to try and meet with everybody I can to make sure they hear my heart and our message, that we need everybody's help to make sure we support our players here at Boise State. We need everybody, from $10 to $25 to whatever. Every bit counts. And as a community right now, they love their team. That field storming, when we won the Mountain West Championship, and seeing it, like, we got to make sure that continues to happen here. And it's going to take, obviously, our staff's work, our players' work, but it's going to take the entire community, from here to northern Idaho to whoever. It's going to take everybody's help, from the state's help, from the support we get from them, to obviously our university, to everybody in this state. I am making that message loud and clear, that we need everybody's help. And I know if we all come together, because that's what makes Boise State football and this state different, is we support each other here. We're not pointing the finger, and there's a lot of schools around the country that are talking about what they don't have and playing the blame game and woe is me. No, we're not going to do that. We have enough, and I'm excited of where I know we can push to. I think there's over 180,000 small businesses in Idaho. We got to get in front of every single one of them and say, hey, what can you do to support Boise State football? How we're developing people. How we're doing. Is that $10? Awesome. Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Let's go. And how we're going to continue to develop this and push this going forward. It's going to take everybody. I know if we continue to link arms as a state to support this football team, to support the mission we are doing, because it's not just to win games. Yes, that's what everybody wants. It is to develop champions in life. That is why I am here. And every dollar counts to make sure not only we take care of our players that are here and earned it right here at Boise State, but also making sure we keep our staff. So I am so excited for the future. We are tirelessly going to work to continue to build these young men to be champions in life, and make sure that when the 2025 season, game 1 starts, we are ready, and we got a lot of work to do. We're proud of our team, proud of the success we've had this season, excited to learn and grow going forward.
So, able to keep quite a few guys that probably could have found other opportunities in the transfer portal. How pleased were you with that retention, and how important is it now today in today's world to get guys who, like you said, are all in?
It's everything. I mean, we got a great group of young men here. We had a great group of seniors, obviously grouping Ashton into that too, with him declaring for the NFL draft. That is earned. But we got a really good group coming back too that loves this place. And that's where I start every single conversation with my players is, do you want to be here? And every single one of them said, Coach, I want to be at Boise State. This is where I know I'm supposed to be. And the landscape is there's a lot of things pulling at these young men, telling them what they should be thinking about, telling them what they think they should be doing. And these young men, man, it's family. They said, Coach, I know I want to be right here at Boise State. And then it's my job to make sure we continue to develop them better than anywhere else in the country, from our staff to our support. And then that's my push from the community to make sure we continue to raise financial support to make sure there's no better place for them than right here. But I'm so proud of our team, so proud of our staff and our players, because there was no hesitation. Coach, I want to be at Boise State. I know that's the best place for me, and let's go to work. And I promise you, we have our guys will be back in town Sunday for a team meeting. We'll have our first official team meeting in regards to kicking off the season on Wednesday. And we're going to hit the ground running on Thursday. And I promise you, our guys are going to be humble and hungry to continue to learn and grow. That's our team. And new guys that come in, I'm going to tell them, what you got to do, look at these returners. Watch them. Do what they're supposed to do. And it's going to be on. And I can't wait to get around them and push forward.
Dirk threw out some numbers to us recently. Was the biggest threat to your players other schools trying to lure them with money, Spencer?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, and I've been open about that. And a lot of coaches around the country have. Yes, that was a huge part of it. That's happening everywhere, though. And that's why my message going forward, and I want to make sure I do a better job, is not pointing at the problem. That's happening everywhere. 133 FBS schools, everybody's at a different place. And we've got, I'd say, at least 14, 15 guys that had, colleges or whoever's calling them, telling them, hey, if you leave, you're going to make this or this is going to happen to you. That's happening everywhere, though. That's an issue that everybody's fighting, that everybody's battling. For me, I'm so proud of our guys not listening to the outside noise and the things that are being dangled, that a lot of it, first off, is not true. A lot of it is fake numbers and just so much ambiguity in that space that what even is real. And I'm just so proud of our guys not listening to that, focusing on what really matters, which is their focus, and then focused on them growing and developing right here at Boise State football and seeing them do it. I'm so proud of our team. But it's happening, Jay, and that's where that's happening for our players' parents. That's happening for our players' high school coaches, where where there is success, which we have had, a lot of people want that. And a lot of people want to take our players or our coaches, and that's where I don't hit the ground running on being frustrated about those things. My thing is making sure there's no better place for our players to develop here. And as a staff or a coach, there's no better place for you to achieve everything you got into this profession for than right here.
How's the house settlement and the payments and all that going to come into the NIL? And I don't know if you could tell guys now like what you're going to pay them in April, or how is that factoring into the NIL and how much you're trying to raise and stuff?
Yeah, BJ, obviously that house settlement's going to come out, I don't know the exact date, but somewhere in that April timeframe. Where revenue sharing and all those things will be a part of it. And that's where, JD and Cody are on the cutting edge with Bronco Pro. So we're ready for that moment when it comes. The intricacies of that and how it's going to truly work, it's something I'm still working through because I really do believe that we're going to be on the cutting edge with it. It's all going to come down to revenue and how we continue to find ways to bring in revenues to support our players is everything. Some of the intricacies of it, to your point, from payment and how that works, I haven't gotten the weeds in that. I will. Like starting now is something that's a big part as we transition to Bronco Pro. But so excited for that to be another avenue for our players to be supported.
In terms of the caps along that follow-up there from 85 to 105, are you sticking at 85? Are you trying to push to 105? How are you working that out?
Absolutely trying to push to 105, Mike, but we're going to be at 85 right now. Yep, and that's something that is – we're always going to be looking at that. I believe, and don't quote me on this because I believe that is a Mountain West Conference rule. But it is something that we're going to be at 85 right now, but it is something that excited to put. I know a lot of schools are going to 105, and it's something that obviously you want to push to.
How daunting? I mean, that's like 20 extra scholarships, like $1 million. Would that be the challenge? Obviously,
there's a lot of challenges out there, Jay. That is one of them to get to 105. But there's also, Everyone's going to see what they see on social media. There's a lot of big-time college football programs that are not going to 105. So I don't know those exact numbers of how many are, but I've talked to a lot of head coaches. Some are, and we've seen some of those schools that have put out publicly that they are, but a lot of schools aren't. And we're gonna have our 105 roster will be filled with players that add value to this team. If that means they're on scholarship or they're walk-ons, whoever makes this 105 roster starting in the summertime are going to be guys that absolutely can add value to this team. Would it help, to your point, Mike, on getting 105? Absolutely. If that's going to come when it's going to come, we'll walk that path. But I don't know the exact numbers, Jay, in regards to how many schools are 105 versus 85. I know there's still a lot of schools that are 85. That's a push. My biggest push is making sure that we continue to raise the bar in regards to how we support our players. Are we ever going to get to the point that we can pay the exact same as everybody else? No, and that's okay. But we have to get it closer because we do a lot of things here that you cannot put a dollar on, from how they're developed, cared for, built, better than anywhere in the country. There's a point to that. But we're going to continue to move the needle closer, and we did, and now we're going to continue to take another big step.
What is realistic, I guess, in that standpoint? We heard, Dirk threw out kind of the salary cap number. I mean, is that, I don't know, I mentioned that maybe the house thing plays into this, but you want to double that in the future? Or for a school like Boise State, what's realistic in terms of what NIL, what you think you should be able to get to take care of your players?
BJ, great question. In regards to a number, I don't have a number of we need to get to this. I am really excited to hit the ground running this offseason again from a fundraising for our players for this place, because I really do believe if we can get everybody involved, which is a daunting task, but if we can get everybody involved, I believe people are going to be shocked on what number we can get to support our players from a revenue sharing standpoint, support our staff. So I'm not even going to sit here and say a number and there's some numbers we've talked through what it is. 5 million has been thrown out, some different things, which I think is awesome. But I believe that if we can get everybody to lock arms, and I mean everybody, not the 30 top supporters at Boise State football, because they're going to be there. I'm talking everybody. $10 from somebody, $25 from somebody, $1,000 from someone else that loves this team. Because it's a blue-collar community. These guys fight their tail off in everything we do. That's what you love about this place. So to say we got to get to this number, we'll probably be able to put some of that stuff out here soon. But even in my heart, BJ, I don't know what that is. I do know there's a gap, and that's what I'm excited to close. And when we close that gap, we're not going to stop. It's not going to be like, all right, we got there. Go ahead and wait, guys. We got to continue to push forward to new heights.
You said some of it's not real, but how many of those 14 or 15 do you think realistically could have gotten more money somewhere else?
Absolutely, every single one of them. Every single one of them. And the landscape is, BJ, to your point, what is real though? Nobody really knows. They got thrown out random numbers of what they could if they went in the portal, and this school says if you got in, we give you this, which are crazy numbers. A lot of it's what's true, what's not. Some of it's probably there's some truth back to it, but every single one of them had opportunities to leave and stayed here because they believe in their development here. And we're continuing to push this bar forward in regards to how we support them financially.
Our perspective, Spencer, what makes Zach Hill a good quarterback coach?
Yeah.
I mean, the fit, obviously, you wouldn't have hired him if it wasn't for the fit. So I want to know what you think about him as a quarterback coach. And I guess the follow-up to that is, the NCAA stuff, the show cause, the recruiting stuff. Can you kind of clear up exactly what you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So in regards to Zach, being around him for 3 years I was able to see firsthand, not only, and at that point he's the offensive coordinator, so being able to see him operate and lead an offense was awesome. Being able to see him be on the cutting edge to very similar to our offense right now, right? Kind of in the bones of Boise State, seeing able to be on the cutting edge there, but seeing his development with Brett Rippon, with Jalen, with Hank, and I'm sure I'm probably missing one on the road, seeing them where they started and how they continue to grow and improve week to week, year to year, was really impressive for me to watch, and how he did it too. How he was able to walk the path these young men every day while still being the offensive coordinator. And so, and I've also, even prior to that point, that's my personal opinion, watching it with my own two eyes, Mike, but then making a lot of calls across the country on guys that have worked with him, from the Seahawks to Arizona State to even at Eastern Washington, some guys that he's been around. he's got a really good reputation even outside these walls and being one of the best quarterback developers in the nation. So seeing it with my own two eyes, Mike, and then people's opinion that I trust that have been around him even when I wasn't, I really do believe it's a slam dunk hire. In regards to some of the recruiting things that came up when he was at Arizona State, worked through a lot of those even when I called him in February, kind of picking his brain about the offensive coordinator job. So it's something that we have a plan for. Not going to speak about it yet, but we have a plan for in regards to what that's going to look like going forward with him being able to, starting the summertime, recruit on campus. With now the rule of being able to have 10 coaches on the road, you can pick on who those are, the accountable coaches. And that's something I'll be open about when we get to the summertime. But I had a plan back in February if we went that way. And we have a plan now that I know will keep us on the cutting edge recruiting-wise.
The QB room looks like? I mean, we kind of know what you have in there.
Yep.
You plan to add somebody else, and I mean, the NIL space kind of maybe took away a potential prospect kind of late in the game for you guys. It seems like in December or whatever. So, yeah, what do you think that QB room kind of looks like?
Yep. So obviously Maddox first and foremost. Think the absolute world of Maddox Madsen. How he played this year, how he led our team, an absolute relentless competitor, and he is going to take another big step this year. And Maddox Madsen's best football is in front of him. I really do believe he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, period, point blank. Being able to have Zach Hill here as well, to be able to continue to push his game forward, because I know he will. I mean, Zach Hill is a quarterback developer, and a guy like Maddox Madsen who thrives on coaching, who thrives on being held to high standards. Maddox's best football is in front of him. In regards to the rest of the room, Max Cutforth is going to be put on scholarship starting this semester. He's earned it. I believe in him, and I actually had that conversation with him 2 hours earlier today. And then Caleb Annette's a young freshman that was on scout team this year that we think the absolute world of. And then going forward, there's a couple other things. Zeke Martinez is a guy that's going to be coming here as a walk-on, starting here in a couple days. So excited to get him here on campus. And then we're going to go out on the road and recruit and see what the 25 situation is. Our goal right now is to go find a 25 quarterback or someone from the transfer portal that fits what we're looking for. Does that make sense? And that's going to be kind of our push going forward.
Do you feel good, I guess, with Max as that number two, or do you need a guy that can come in and push Maddox and really compete there?
I feel really good about Max Cutforth. Now, am I telling you right now, BJ, that he's going to be our number two start the season? Absolutely not. I didn't tell him that either. I said, you got to compete. I know Caleb Annette's going to want to be the number two. And hopefully both those guys at some point want to start here. And so that's my message to all of them. So I believe in our quarterbacks we have currently here in this building, but we are going to continue to go out and find the best fit that fits here. The reality of the quarterback recruiting space is if you are going to go out and try and find the right fit in the transfer portal or junior colleges, those young men are going to want to come in a situation where there's not a returning starter. Majority of those players, right? So when you have a returning starter that's had the success that Maddox has had, it's hard to find the right guys that want to come in and compete and add value in that room, which is fine because I'm very open about where it is and who we have in this room. So that's where as we go through January, we're going to look to see the absolute best 25 freshmen that we can sign in February and or a junior college transfer portal player that fits this place and knows what it is. So much of it for the quarterback is going to be the fit and do they want to be here and compete? And that's where I've got a bunch of names that me and the offensive staff have worked through, and we're going to walk that path in January.
Clarity. I see 5 pretty good names out there for the running back room. What's your plans for the running back room?
Yep, still something we're working through, Mike. Obviously, right now, through finishing the season, Mike, keeping our team, which I'm so proud of our players and our staff, and then some of the recruits that we've brought in, we're going to get to work. And you guys know me. From transfers to people that have not been here, I'm not going to speak to it because I haven't seen them do anything in front of my own 2 eyes. Now, we go through spring ball and we finish spring ball, Mike. I'm going to be able to speak to a lot. I think we got some really good guys coming in. I believe we've got some of the best running backs in the country right here at Boise State football right now. Sire Gaines, Breezy Dubar, Dylan Riley, I think are some of the top backs around. And we brought in a couple really good ones too. But I haven't seen them do anything here. I'm excited about them. So in regards to how that's going to look and how we'll go through it, That's what spring ball's for. We're gonna have a plan to make sure we're gonna probably have some packages to use 2 on the field at one time as well, which you guys have seen in years past, because that's gonna be a room that we're gonna have a lot of talented guys in. So that's something I know our offense, our defensive staff through January and February prior to spring ball is gonna see who are our best 11, who are our best package guys in all 3 phases, special teams included. So when we go through spring ball, we're gonna see how that all shakes down. And then when we leave spring ball, and I told every single player on our team this, no different from our recruits. When you leave spring ball, you got a really good idea of your team. You got a really good idea of depth charts. And then to your point, Mike, how the running back room is going to shake down, how these other maybe position battles are going to work out. We'll have a really good idea at the end of spring.
What was the conversation like to your returning running backs when you went out and got not one, but 2 transfers? And those guys are probably thinking they're going to take over as RB1 or be there, and then you bring in 2 other guys. How'd that kind of go, and are you kind of covering yourself in case one of them decides to leave, or just what is are you expecting all 5? Obviously, they're all going to be here now, but what's kind of the big picture, how they're all seeing this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open with all our guys. No different in one-on-one meetings to everything we do. We carry 5 scholarship running backs. That's what we carry here. You lose Ashton, you lose Tyler Crow. So we are going to recruit how many? 2. I tell those guys that. And is that going to mean freshman, transfer, junior college? So guys, we're going to find the 2 best that fit this place that want to come in and compete. So I'm open with them. So they know, okay, the coach is going to make sure that we get, because we need 5 of the best around. And that's different at every position from a number standpoint, but that's how I do. I'm very open with these young men. And I say, how you control it is you come and compete. And the guys that have been here that know our offense, that know what it is, are going to be given every opportunity to compete. And my goal is to continue to find guys to come in here and push the standard to where everybody in the room grows and develops. But that's been my message, BJ. And that's across the board from a transfer to a freshman. It's they know how many numbers we have and who we're going to go out and recruit. And then when we put the ball down in when we start in our winter training and then put the ball down in spring ball, go earn it. Go earn it. That's our fly. And if you don't want to compete and go earn it, this ain't the place for you anyway.
Any clarity on Cam Camper, Amarion McCoy, major pieces here? We know this JC thing. Are they in the building? Are they a part of the outfit right now? Have they left? Any update there?
Really good question, John. So Amarion McCoy's coming back. He's locked in. He'll be back. He's the waiver that was able to come out through some of the rulings with junior college because he was a 4th-year senior. You get that 5th year of eligibility. So Amarion McCoy is coming back. He's locked in, and that's a huge addition, to our back end going forward. Cam Camper's in a different situation because I believe this last year was his 5th year in college, and next year will be his 6th year. So we're still working through that with Cam. I talk with Cam a lot. He's working through NFL or come back, but to come back, there's still some things that we're working through with the NCAA. It's not as simple as Amarion's situation because Amarion was a 4th year with a 5th year granted eligibility, done deal. Cam, there's still some things working through. So I know he's weighing the options and going through training for the NFL and/or waiting to see if this is something that he can truly come back for. I'm still working through that situation with Cam.
You mentioned the passing defense, the stats, a work in progress. What are your confidences and what are your concerns with that group?
Yeah. The things that we struggle with on film, Mike, and not on film, in reality, are fixable. And I believe we have the players to do it. Now it's going to work to make sure we do. And you see on film, what I look at a lot of times is, first off, who we are playing, and then are there guys running free? If there's guys just running free all over the place, that's a lack of schematics and a lack of understanding. That's not happening a lot. I'm not saying it never happened this year, but these are contested throws that we're giving up or in these situations that are happening. So those are things we got to learn and grow. And I believe we're going to have a really good back end going into the season. That doesn't mean anything. We got to go to work and continue to clean up. Then we got to look at, Mike, what is our best 11? There's been some things we're talking about moving positions with guys that are returning. We are going to find the best 11 and 12 and 13 in regards to our packages to make sure pass game and run game is something we improve on. The other reality that I want people to understand is we were very successful this year. We were leading in 90% of the time throughout these games. So what does that turn an offense into? More of a pass offense, right? So things are going to be different. In the 4th quarter of the majority of the games we played, these offenses turn into passing offenses because they have to accumulate points to go try and win the game. So there's a lot of things when I look at it, not running from the fact that we need to grow in our pass game. There's some things in the run game we need to grow in too. not running from that. I'm not using those things to say that we're all good. We're not. We got to continue to grow and no different on some things offensively and things special teams wise. But watching the film, I know there's things we can fix, and I know we have the guys to do it.
When that ruling came down with McCoy, I mean, you're thinking you're going to have to replace him. He's a all league type kind of guy. I mean, just to suddenly all of a sudden have him for another year, how big of a deal is that?
It's a huge deal. And Amara McCoy, for who he is for this team, seeing his growth as a leader on this team, seeing who he was when he first came here 2 years ago to who he is now, it's a monster deal for our team getting back. And I believe his best football is in front of him. And I'm very aware with him. And, hey, these are the couple things we need to improve and fix on to not only have your best last season in college, but also make sure you get to the NFL, which is a huge goal of his.
Talk about Keelan, Brian? Is that okay?
I can.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Just to refresh and clarify, you mentioned people that want to contribute, like business owners or individuals. Is there an easy place they can go to? Is
Yep.
there a link?
Really good question. That is something that me and JD and Cody and our fundraising team are actually going to sit down and talk through today and tomorrow, because I want it to be very simple for everybody. Obviously, anybody can go contact the Boise Football Horseshoe Collective, right? That's the easiest way right now to contact them, or send a check to Boise State Football. Those are two easy ways. But I even want to make it even more seamless. There are some things that someone sent me about even having PayPal on there. I want it to be very simple. I don't know if you sent me that, BJ, but someone sent me that. I'm like, those are good ideas. I want it to be as simple as signing up for Netflix for somebody to be able to support our team. Not only just lump sum, but even monthly. Like, I want to create a lot of opportunities, because there's a lot of people that want to help this team, help our players. And it's not just the guys with quote unquote that are our big supporters. It's going to take everybody. And I want to make that very easy. And so when we do create some of these things, I will be in front of the media to make sure it's very open for everybody to know what that looks like.
So in terms of the offensive and defensive lines, is it fair to say that the offensive line, one of the priorities this summer, this offseason, will be to find a little bit more athleticism, to get them out in space and get to work a little bit more out there? And then the defensive line, especially the interior part, and maybe a complement to JVM, a little bit more physicality in the defensive line?
Yeah, good question, Mike. Going through it, the month of January is a big self-scout month for us. Obviously, we did a lot of that even prior to playing the Fiesta Bowl with that break. But when I look at our offensive line, obviously losing Ben Dooley, who's such a big leader and such a big mentality player for us, Mike, that is something that we have to look to replace. We've got answers for it. But so excited of the group we have coming back offensive line-wise. What we were able to do run game and protection-wise with only losing one offensive lineman is very exciting for me. And so now, yes, being able to improve how they play in space, being able to create more competition in some of these roles to grow these guys, keeping them healthy long-term. So we got a great group, great leadership in that room too, from Mason Randolph, Roger Carrion, Cage Casey. I mean, three of the top leaders on our team last season coming back, pushing that standard. So there's going to be a lot of things that I know Coach Keen's excited to get with them on, from playing in space to different techniques that just we weren't consistent enough on, and some of the things that we did really well, how we build into it. And then defensive line-wise, the interior of our D-line is the biggest point of emphasis, right? Braxton Feely, one of our best players, our entire defense coming back, huge part of that. Jaden Virgin, one of the top edge players in the country, huge part. But Max Steege, Ahmed Hossein is a guy that has a piece of my heart and had a huge role in this defense. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I believe he's going to be a 10-year NFL pro. And I've told that to NFL scouts and GMs. But I believe Max Steege is going to do a really good job for us. And the times he's gone in, who he is as a competitor, who he is as a football player, I believe his best football is in front of us. So, and then there's some young D tackles that did a good job. We've obviously been able to bring in some D tackles that I can't speak to yet because they haven't done anything yet here. So our front is going to be a huge point of emphasis. And then obviously with Andrew Simpson and Marco Notariti coming back, it's going to be huge to have those two linebackers as an anchor in the middle of our defense. So something we're going to be moving some guys around in spring. Who are our best 11, and defensively maybe 12, depending on some of the different packages we use. So we have some ideas, but we're going to work through those through January, February, and then you guys are going to see it in spring ball, kind of see where these guys are at.
Jay, go ahead. A couple more.
What were your conversations like with Prince Strong? And then just to be clear, was he truly the last, or was he truly the only one of your regulars that you did lose to the transfer portal?
Yeah, he was, Jay. And with Prince, I love Prince. All I can speak to is I know Prince wanted to be here, but in this landscape, there's a lot of people involved that can pull at your heartstrings and mentality. But I love Prince. I wish him absolutely nothing but the best. I do believe his best football is in front of him, and I do really believe his heart was here, but excited for him and where he goes next.
What does that leave you with that receiver?
Yep.
And I know you don't know about Cam Camper, but do you need to go find another Cam Camper, out of the portal again this year? Or
Yeah, receiver is a big point of need that we're working through right now, BJ, from recruiting to some guys stepping up. Obviously, Latrell Caples, we think the world of. Austin Bolt had a good season. There's a lot more meat on the bone for him. So those two for sure. Chase Penry, Ben Ford played a lot for us and need to continue to play more. So feel really good about that core. And I think Cam Bates, our true freshman, you're going to see a lot more of Cam Bates. I mean, Cam Bates, I think, could be one of the better ones we've had here. Then we brought some guys in, and as the freshmen and as we bring transfers in, we're going to see how they compete. I'm not going to speak to him. Chris Marshall, him being healthy and him being able to compete the way we need him to in spring ball. I mean, he's obviously one of the most talented receivers on our team, but he's got to be able to do it consistently. And I've had really good talks with Chris, and I'm very, very excited for his spring and him being able to do it consistently. We'll see what happens with Cam. We'll kind of walk through that process, but it is a position that we are looking at to find the best around to come in, BJ.
Chris is all in and sticking around?
He is, yep. Okay. And that's something we'll continue to walk through. Obviously, last season didn't go the way he wanted, nor we wanted it for him. And that can go a lot of different ways. But Chris has grown a ton in his time here. He's done everything we've asked him to do. Obviously, some injuries hit, some things didn't go his way, or some things that didn't go the way we envisioned last season. But like I told him, we talked a couple weeks ago before the bowl game. At that point, that's old news. That is what it is. You've been here for a year. You know what it is. Now it's how do we grow from this? How do we get your body and everything right to where we don't get injured, to where we can go be our best? Because he's got all the skill set in the world to be, one of the top receivers. He's just got to go do it consistently. And I can promise you this, Chris is very excited to, and I love that young man. I love his heart. I love him being here. We just got to be consistent daily, and he's excited to do that, and I'm excited to see his spring.
Replace Jonah, and is that person on campus now or on the team now?
Potentially here now, Mike, from either guys we've recruited and or as we go through spring, going to be something that we look at completely. So that's a huge point. We got guys that are going to compete for the starting. And once again, you guys know there's two jobs here now. There's field goal kicker and who kicks off, because that is something that we are going to get fixed. And so that we're going to compete with guys on campus. I think we have the guys here on campus right now to do those. If we leave spring and we don't feel as confident, then we're going to make some adjustments. Yes.
Spencer, now the season's over. I don't know if you can comment on Sire just a little bit more, but how close is he to playing? I mean, if you guys are playing today,
Sire would be playing if we play today.
Can you get the off-season running, I guess?
Yes. When we start winter workouts, Sire Gaines will hit the ground running. And I am so excited for him. Obviously, breaks your heart when one of your players gets hurt and loses a season, but I also believe God never says oops. And Sire fought his tail off to get back, get healthy, and he was right on the edge of being able to be cleared to play in the Fiesta Bowl. Wasn't cleared. We were very positive that if we won that game, he'd be able to play in the Orange Bowl today. Obviously, we didn't get it done to play in that game, but he will be full go come this offseason. And Sire Gaines, it's time. And I can't wait because of how he's wired and who he is, his skill set, the nation's going to see a lot of Sire Gaines.
I talked to Chris, and do you have an early enrolling number?
I believe it is, Mike, off the top of my head, I want to say 15 is what we're bringing in right now from freshmen to transfers from an early enrollee. I'll get back to you on that. It's either 15 or 16, I think. Yeah.
Okay. They'll be here on Monday, Sunday night?
Yep.
We know how important retaining your coaching staff was. Was that pool increased to keep those guys or anything?
Absolutely, and JD has done a phenomenal job, and that's a big push. It's not just where we are at from a salary pool standpoint. It's you got to look across even the new Pac-12. Like, where are their salaries at? Where do we need to get to? Because winning back-to-back championships, doing some of these things, the only way to continue to do that is to push the bar financially from taking care of staff, and obviously very open about what that means in regards to taking care of our players. So I appreciate JD so much. We've been able to push that salary pool forward. It's even something that I'm going to continue to work to push you more. And me and Jeremiah are lockstep in that.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.